Welcome, everyone. Let's get right into this idea of Europe's Stockholm syndrome. Michael Hudson, a renowned classical economist, argues that the US is extracting tribute from its allies in a manner that's both subtle and profound.
That's quite a powerful image. Extracting tribute sounds almost medieval, doesn't it?
Exactly. It's like the US is leveraging its immense economic clout so that its allies end up paying a kind of emotional and financial tax, almost as if they're entranced by the benefactor.
Yeah. So, how does he actually explain this phenomenon? What are the mechanics behind this notion of tribute extraction?
Well, he presents it as a twofold process. On one side, there's the overt economic policies that favor US interests, and on the other, a sort of psychological dependency. It's like, when someone in a controlling relationship starts justifying all the little demands, the allies come to see their dependence as something almost natural.
Interesting. That blend of economics and psychology makes it both analytical and almost emotional in its portrayal.
Absolutely. Hudson uses the concept of Stockholm syndrome to capture this paradox. Nations feel indebted not just because of force, but because they're subtly convinced that they benefit from the relationship.
Right. It almost sounds like a high stakes game of dependency. But don't you think it's a bit oversimplified to explain complex economic relationships purely in psychological terms?
That's a fair point. While Hudson's framing does risk reducing intricate systems to emotional labels, it also forces us to look beyond the numbers. It's like instead of just crunching fiscal data, we consider how policy creates a sort of feudal like hierarchy in modern economics.
Yeah, I see what you mean. So, in this view, the US acts like the dominant power, ensuring its own interests by subtly controlling the policies of its allies rather than overtly coercing them.
Exactly. Think of it as a kind of engineered dependency. The US sets up economic policies that oblige allies to align their strategies and essentially pay tribute without a direct command to do
Right,
so.
yes. That sounds like a delicate balance, taking care of that dependency while still maintaining the appearance of benevolence and alliance.
Yes, exactly. And what's compelling is how this idea challenges our conventional wisdom. It's like you're not just a partner in trade, you're kind of, well, emotionally and economically tied in a way that's hard to break.
And this tension, this mix of gratitude and resentment, seems to really alter policy perspectives, doesn't it?
Precisely. Hudson suggests that because allies feel this dependency, they're less inclined to push back even when policies are clearly skewed in favor of US interests.
Yeah, that makes sense. I wonder, though, could this view be seen as too one sided? I mean, aren't there instances where European countries act based on their own strategic interests rather than out of this kind of psychological hold?
That's a very valid critique. While the notion of Stockholm Syndrome is a striking metaphor, it's true that European policies are also shaped by domestic factors, historical alliances, and global strategy. It's not just a one-way street.
True story. So, it's a case of overlapping influences. External pressure from US economic might coupled with internal political and historical incentives.
Exactly. It's like an intricate dance. On one hand, there's the comfort of established alliances that bring security, and on the other, there's the cost of economic independence.
Exactly. Hudson's argument, then, seems to be a call to re examine these alliances. How do you see Europe breaking out of this dependency, if at all?
Hudson hints at the idea of forging a more independent path, perhaps rebalancing alliances, or even exploring frameworks like the Greater Eurasia Initiative. It's like saying, hey, let's stop automatically following the US playbook and carve out something that's more in tune with our own interests.
Right on. That idea is both inspiring and daunting, isn't it? Breaking away from a system that's been entrenched for so long comes with its own risks.
It truly does. In many ways, it's like the difficult decision to choose independence over the comfort of a predestined safety net, a bit like a rebellious teenager choosing a rocky road to create their own path.
Yeah, that's a vivid analogy. And yet, wouldn't challenging the status quo potentially lead to more instability, at least in the short term?
Absolutely. And that's the key tension. Hudson's perspective warns us. While a shakeup might disrupt the current order, it might ultimately pave the way for a more balanced and sovereign economic landscape in Europe.
It's a trade off for sure. It brings to mind historical examples where, after a period of turmoil, new paradigms emerge, doesn't it?
Sure does. It's like revolution and evolution in economics. Disrupt the existing order enough, and you create the conditions for a wiser, more self
Right,
reliant
that can
system.
be true. And what about the cultural aspect of this syndrome? The idea that European nations might start to see this dependency almost as a badge of honor, even if it undermines their sovereignty?
That's one of the most fascinating points Hudson makes. It's like, through a sort of cognitive dissonance, the very same factors that keep them safe also blur the lines of true independence. They start, almost subconsciously, to value the comfort of being under someone else's protection.
Yeah, I can see that happening. It almost feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy, where fear of instability keeps them tethered to a system that might be exploiting them in the long run.
Exactly. And if we think about it, this isn't a new phenomenon in international relations. It's like a modern echo of old hierarchies, only now draped in the language of economics and global
Absolutely.
finance.
So, what do you think this means for the future of economic policymaking in Europe and its relationship with the US?
It suggests a need for critical introspection. Europe might have to decide between continuing on a path of comfortable dependence and risking independence for long term sovereignty. This may involve rethinking trade policies, investment flows, and even diplomatic stances.
Indeed, that's a significant pivot. And of course, such a change wouldn't happen overnight. There would be transitional challenges and probably short term instability.
Right, it's a high stakes game. But as Hudson implies, maybe it's better to endure some turbulence now to avoid being locked into a system that inherently benefits another nation in the long run.
Yeah, I get that. It sounds like we're looking at more than just an economic debate. It's a profound discussion about national identity, autonomy, and the future of international alliances.
Precisely. Hudson's ideas push us to ask what does true sovereignty look like in a world where economic power can dictate political choices? And are we, as European nations, willing to risk the status quo to achieve it?
Absolutely, that's a critical question. I also find it fascinating how these discussions tie into broader geopolitical dialogues, like those highlighted by Glenn Deason in his focus on Russian international affairs and the multipolar world narrative.
Yes, it's all interconnected. The push for a multipolar world where power isn't concentrated in a single country resonates deeply with Hudson's critique. It signals a potential shift away from the current, almost unipolar economic order dominated by the US.
Very interconnected indeed. Well, this certainly gives us a lot to mull over regarding not just economic policy, but also the cultural and psychological underpinnings of international relations.
Absolutely. It challenges us to rethink alliances and consider if, sometimes, comfort can cost more than it's worth. There's a lot of nuance here, but the conversation is essential for our understanding of modern geopolitics.
Right, that's something to really chew on. Thanks for unpacking these complex ideas with me. It's been enlightening to see how economic theories merge with cultural and psychological perspectives on the global stage.
My pleasure. These discussions are what really drive us to question the established order and imagine a future with a more balanced power dynamic. Looking forward to exploring more of these intriguing intersections next time.